So, in the first part, I have two questions focusing on your most outstanding project cases and stories.
Yeah.
So, question number one, could you please briefly introduce AME Strategic Consulting to our readers, please?
Yeah. Okay. AME Strategic Consulting is part of the wider consulting business of AME. It specialises in the use of data and analytics to improve the performance of infrastructure. So we have a combination of people who understand data and with some very practical knowledge from our colleagues who run the infrastructure. So for example, in the railways, we are the biggest supplier to Network Rail, the national Network Rail in the country. And in amongst the things that we supply to them are data and analytics. But we're also supplying operational knowledge or operational work to the railway. So we have the ability to analyse what's going on with a true understanding of the practicalities of running and building a railway. So our remit is to have that combination of knowledge for a number of industries in this country.
Excuse me, but now it's mostly focusing on transportations and railways.
A lot of it's transportation, so it's heavy rail, light rail, airports, but also we're involved in the utilities. So that's the water, clean and dirty water, and power. Yeah. So those are the main areas I think that we're involved in. So it's basically what we call the regulated industries in this country, in the UK. So the big infrastructure owners.
So now, could you please give some examples of your most successful cases? And also in these cases, what kind of service has your team provided to your clients, and how do you reach a satisfying result?
I think one of the best examples is our work for Network Rail, particularly recently in the busiest section of the railway, the South East region, where over the last year and a half we've taken their own data and provided them with tools to enable them to interpret the data, with the effect being they've gone from the worst performing route in the country to the best performing route in the country, and saved a lot of money on fines that they get for not performing. So that was one of the most interesting projects that we've undertaken. What else do you think would be good examples?
I would say Heathrow Airport.
Yeah.
We have a long engagement with the business airport in Heathrow, and we're basically supporting their all the asset management activities, including maintenance, planning, and all the technical details, engineering stuff, and also we help them to put in their long-term investment planning in place, and we supported the big third runway program for the Heathrow Airport as well. So we've been engaging with them for quite a long time, and I think we have built reasonable good trust with them. So we're quite proud of help running, make big difference.
I've engaged with them since the day one of the business.
Yep.
So 6-7 years ago. Throughout the life of the business, and again, basically a lot of the work depends on understanding their data and information about the way their assets perform, and then turning that into a business benefit. So it's largely enabling them to establish business cases for future investment. But it's based on the data that we gained from them themselves and interpreting it for them. I guess the other area, just to sort of spread we've just started an engagement in the highway sector around a review of the National Traffic Information System. So that's a strategic review piece, which is all about the data that's coming in and how can it be best be used to help performance. So there's sort of three different areas, transportation, areas we're in.
And also go back to a little bit about what we do, like in general.
Mm-hmm.
So I think if we put in this like more market-oriented areas, so what we do is we do infrastructure asset management. So when you talk about it, like engineering stuff, how you run the infrastructure, how you make them perform better, how you put the rules and policies together. And also we do data analytics and for the infrastructure. So it's how to combine the data and the engineering together. And also we do some like putting tools and softwares for the client to make them run infrastructure better. Also, we put them together, we call it digital transformation. So it's make the company, make the big organization itself like smarter, digitalize them. So that's basically what we do. So what we're talking about will be falling into one of those categories. So that's about our projects.
We can probably give you some written material, written case studies as well, which will help you.
Also, like brochure on the internet, like I read it. Like if it's okay, I can just use some. After
a combination of the two.
Yeah.
So is it alright for like sort like?
Sorry.
It sounds terrible. Like,
oh no,
is it okay?
It's fine.
Is it okay?
It's fine. No worries.
So now move on to the second part.
Yeah.
And we'll have 3 questions focused on your talent team.
Yeah.
So first, how do you attract those best talents to your team and help them to explore their higher value? And is there any key to maintain a startup mentality of a team to be like enthusiastic or creative all the time?
How do we attract the best people? I think it is a paradox. It's about having good people here to start with, and creating a place where people can do the things that excite and interest them. Quite often we recruit people straight from a second or third degree, so from a master's or a PhD level. They want to use their skills outside the academic field in something that is not finance, so they and is perhaps benefiting society in a different way. So it's quite a tangible, and it's tangible, so they can see the benefit. So there are certain people who want that kind of job, or perhaps that's one of the options they've got. So we try to exploit those sort of wishes of people to build on their academic careers, and I think quite successfully, because obviously one of the questions is how do you and then how do you keep them? Well, we certainly help them to explore their higher value. Well, we give them quite interesting challenges. So we certainly don't just produce cookie cutter solutions to cookie cutter problems. We look for the problems that are offbeat, they're unusual. Quite often we don't know how we're going to solve a problem when we get to the beginning of commission, and we challenge people almost from the day that they walk through the door. So a young A person who's just come off their masters might be sitting next to a client within a month and doing some practical work. So to maintain and help them explore their value is to challenge them, and in many ways that they probably haven't thought about. So we might get someone who's highly analytic